Hi, and welcome back to MugnainiOvens Cooking School. Today we're going to be showing you how to make raspberry ricotta cake. This is a really popular cake that we make a lot in class for dessert and also have for breakfast sometimes. It's a really easy batter to embellish with all sorts of different seasonal fruits. Today we're going to be using raspberry, so we're going to get right into making the batter. So we're going to start with our dry ingredients. I have a cup and a half of AP flour here, just all-purpose flour. 1 cup of sugar, 2 teaspoons of baking powder, and 3/4 teaspoon of salt. And we're just using kosher salt. So you're going to start by just whisking all those dry ingredients together. And then we're going to start assembling our wet ingredients. So right here, we've just got a cup and a half of whole milk ricotta. Try and get a really good quality one. This is a local one from Sonoma. And to that, we're going to add 3 eggs. So the ricotta is going to keep the cake nice and moist. I also kind of think it cuts from the sugar in the recipe too, so it's not too sweet, which is why we also have it for breakfast. And then half a teaspoon of vanilla extract. And then 1 teaspoon of orange zest. Now, the zest pairs really well with the raspberries. You can feel free if you were to do a different fruit like blackberry or blueberry. Those fruits also pair really well with like lemon zest. So that's where you can kind of play around with the different flavors. The orange just is really good with the raspberry. And you're just going to whisk that together. So now we've got all of our wet ingredients ready off to the side. And now it's just time to mix. So now we have dry ingredients, wet ingredients. I've got a half a cup of melted butter here, and then we've got our fruit. So raspberries are ready washed. Once this all gets mixed together, we have a buttered and floured pan here that's going to go in. So just have that ready off to the side as well. And I like to work with a rubber spatula at this point. You know, before you add the butter and the berries, it can get kind of thick, so I think it's a little easier to work with a rubber spatula. So go ahead and just dump our wet ingredients into the dry. And then you can just start kind of folding all of those ingredients together. We don't need this to come together super well yet. So once it's kind of partially mixed, then we can move on. The important thing with any cake is to not over mix it. You don't really want to work the flour to the point where it starts to develop gluten in it. So once you have kind of a little bit of a batter with maybe some dry spots in it that's not totally mixed in yet, that's going to be when you come in with your butter. So now butter goes in. And again, you see I'm using kind of a folding motion to fold over and then mix. See, we have little spots of some flour that haven't mixed in yet. That's totally fine. Kind of pull up from the bottom. All right, so now it's starting to look like more of a cake batter. And now I'm going to come in with my raspberries. And the important thing is I have about 8 ounces of berries here. Use any type of fruit that you have on hand. The important thing is that I want to reserve about 2 ounces of these so that I can just finish it as a decorative topping. So we'll save about that many berries off to the side. And raspberries, blueberries, blackberries, they're pretty delicate, right? So we don't really want to smash these into the batter. So again, we're going to come in with that same kind of folding motion and just be nice and gentle with it. It's not a huge deal if some of them break through. We've had it happen before with some really ripe ones, and it kind of turns the batter like a nice shade of pink. It never looks bad when it comes out of the oven still, but I usually try to keep them just full so they don't get crushed. And now we've got this beautiful speckled batter here. So now come in with your pan. And just take your rubber spatula and try and push everything out. Get everything in there. And now you can come in just with your garnish, those leftover berries, which are going to look really pretty over the top. And now it's ready to go. So we're going to bake this at about 450 degrees in the oven. There are no, there's not a live coal bed in there, so it's just at a baking temperature. Time's going to vary. It's going to take about, usually this one takes about 40-45 minutes, but make sure you're checking it with a cake tester before it's done. So if you have a toothpick or if you have a cake tester or even a butter knife, just stick it in the center and it should come out clean. That should tell you that it's done. And now we're ready to bake. So get that right onto the floor of the oven. I'm going to close the door again. And we'll check it in a bit. So welcome back. Our cake should be done. We used a tester and it came out clean. We've got beautiful color over the top. So we're going to pull it out. Just take our door off. So really pretty color on the top. You can see that garnish looks really nice over as well. And now we're just going to invert it before we serve. So just take a knife and run it around the side. We've buttered and greased it, so it shouldn't really give you much resistance. I have a plate here. And make sure you're using towels if you're doing this while it's warm. So there's the reveal. We're going to invert it back onto our wooden board. So you can dust this with some powdered sugar or just serve it warm, which is what we're gonna be doing today. And we have a really good orange cream topping. So this was just some heavy whipping cream and some creme fraiche. So it's nice and light and tart. We put some orange zest in there, which is also in the cake. So it just pairs really nicely. See, it's nice and moist. Those berries and ricotta keep it from getting really dry. It's really good served warm right out of the oven, but we'll probably take the leftovers and have it for breakfast tomorrow, and it's going to taste really nice cold. Top it with a little bit of the orange cream, and you're ready to eat. Enjoy.